Hello, Rob Lambert here with AssetProtectionTraining.com. This is a short video on the rule against perpetuities. It's not an important issue, but it's something that's going to confuse you every single time you look at a trust, because these stupid little rule against perpetuities savings clauses find their way into almost every single trust written. And I'm doing this short video just so you don't get confused and you can kind of feel like you sort of know what they're talking about and laugh about it when you see it. The rule against perpetuities is a rule that originated in the mid-1600s in England. It was done by the House of Lords to prevent people from ruling beyond the grave. People wanted to keep their titles in their family for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and the House of Lords didn't think it was appropriate for a dead person to direct the lives of people hundreds of years after the person was dead. So they enacted the rule against perpetuities. The English rule is that a prohibition on a person's right to do something is invalid if it lasts more than the period of a life in being plus 21 years. A life in being plus 21 years. And if you look at 3 little I of this contract, you will see that in this case, the trust cannot last more than 21 years after the death of the last surviving survivor of the descendants now living of His Majesty King George V of England. That means you look at all of Queen Elizabeth's relatives, you say who's alive on the date we did the trust, and the longest this trust can survive is 21 years after the death of the last person who's alive on the date that we do this trust. And you pick a big family like King George, or sometimes they use Rockefeller, to make sure that we can track it. Now this is kind of silly, but it's in every single trust you'll ever see. Normally they do what I commonly do is ask the client, how long do you need this to last? In the case of one little I, you'll see the 60th anniversary of the date of the settlement. That's a very low and very safe number. You're not going to run into any problems with that. And that's typical. Most of my clients don't intend to rule beyond the grave. I do have some clients that intend to rule beyond the grave. And those clients are well advised to go to one of the states if they do a domestic trust, which is almost always a bad idea if you're doing asset protection, or if they do an offshore asset protection trust, we'll go to one of the jurisdictions that permit trusts to last for hundreds and hundreds of years. Florida will let a trust last more than 300 years right now. I think it's 360. But be that as it may, the life in being plus 21 years is a common 500-year-old rule that you're still going to see in almost every trust you pick up. Now, the reason I put this on, all these extra words on this page, is I want you to see a provision that commonly finds its way into many trusts. This is 2 little I. This allows, 2 little I, this allows the trustee with the written consent of the protector to terminate the trust. The written consent of the protector, a normal common provision that I pointed out hundreds of times during these lectures, is normal. But what's not normal is to let the trustee shorten the period, or the trust period, the term of the trust. This has a limit that says the trustee cannot shorten a trust to less than 3 years. That's become pretty common. It's found its way into many trusts that I don't write. Yet I just invented this 20 years ago, and it's never been challenged, and it's not something you should rely upon. Bottom line is it can easily be taken out, but this allows your trust to be terminated at an early date, but not less than 3 years after it's put into place. This kind of sometimes gives the client a little comfort that they're not wedded to this the sophisticated asset protection plan for the rest of their lives. They can usually get out of it pretty easily if they want to. provided there's no event of duress. Now, I just put this up for you to take a look at it. This is not going to change your life unless you plan to rule from the grave. It's not important. If you do plan to rule from the grave, go to a place that lets you rule for several hundred years. Thank you very much, and the next videos will be much more meaty, but this one will certainly prevent you from being confused when you look at a typical trust with a typical rule against perpetuity savings clause. Thank you very much.